I think the best part of being an entrepreneur, though, is just seeing your ability to actually create and then fail at something. And then you're like, I actually did this, right?
Yeah.
You actually succeed at something that was your own.
Yeah.
And not somebody else dictating to you or even pushing you to do that. You just got up one day and be like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And you got it done.
Hey, well, welcome everybody to the next episode of the Unbiased Truth podcast. I have with me today Latoya Perkins.
Hey.
And she is a realtor here in Metro Richmond, and we have been working together for a couple of years now, right?
Yeah. Almost 4 years now. Yeah.
Been a while.
Been a while.
That's right.
It's a good ride.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you guys already know, Sid already says, I'm Latoya Perkins. I am originally from Montego Bay, Jamaica. I've been here for quite some time, which y'all know. So, yes, don't ask. It's been a while. I've been in real estate for 5 years and absolutely love it. It's challenging. It helps me grow. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. Random fact, we just got back from Montego Bay for a week of vacation. So yeah. So it was good times. Enough about that. So you moved here from Jamaica, whatnot. You got into real estate. What was you doing before real estate?
Before real estate, I was or still am, certified medical assistant. So I have medical background.
Nice.
Yep. I also have a pre-degree in nursing and respiratory therapy.
So what made you jump from all that to
flexibility?
Flexibility
and the control of my own money.
Yeah, that's the law that they sell you.
Right?
Flexibility.
Yeah. So I mean, as we know, medicine's it's really restrictive. So you got to be in the building 12, 14-day shifts, and at the time too, I had 2 young kids, so. I was getting up at 5 a.m. and getting to work by 7 after getting my kids to daycare or wherever we were going, and not get off till 4:30, pick my kids up, make dinner, go back to sleep, rinse and repeat was just not a fun schedule for me.
Yeah.
I could only imagine what it was for my kids.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, I don't see my mom for maybe 2 hours, 1 hour before we go to bed because we eat and then go to sleep, get up the next day, rinse and repeat. I was just I don't think this is going to work. No. I didn't grow up like that. And so I didn't like the fact that my kids were not seeing me.
Right.
Flexibility was important.
So you are, how many kids you got?
4 now.
4 now. Used to be 5. Yeah, one of them just got lost somewhere.
Yeah, one got lost somewhere.
So 4 kids, and what's the age ranges?
My oldest just turned 19.
Mm-hmm.
And my second oldest is about to be 17. My son just turned 11, and I have a 9-year-old.
9-year-old. So 5 years ago, that's 5 years younger, all of them, school age and whatnot.
Yeah.
Single mom.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually started out recently. My son was probably around, he's 11 now, so 5.
Yeah. So how was that like with 5 kids and this flexible job of real estate, where your money depended on closings?
Fun.
Yeah.
Fun. That's what I have to say. It's fun. It's crazy challenge every day. I mean, I feel like it still is, but getting kids to school and then trying to make money in between is kind of fun. But yeah, you just make sure you become a squirrel after a while, right? You start storing up nuts and making sure that, you budget and stay on budget and make your bills, basically.
Yeah, it's always, when I was doing, my previous life, fire service or whatnot, it looks good from the outside because of you only work 10 days, 10 days a month, you're off 20 days, but those 10 days are 24 hours. And I can almost guarantee you that if there's a event or a anniversary or a birthday or a soccer game or something, you're working, or when you're getting ready to go home and they say, hey, look, congratulations, mandatory overtime, always working.
Yeah.
So, which was part of the reason for the transition to, business owner for the same reasons, the flexibility
yep.
and air quotes.
True.
But there, even though, we still do a lot of work on Saturdays and Sundays, and especially in those first couple of years, just trying to build a business, you got to be available you don't want to turn business away.
True.
But it's still nice to be home every evening. Just like tomorrow, still nice. Tomorrow, son's school is going to Norfolk for a field trip, so he wants me to go to that. So it was nice to be able to block that off and go to that. Don't have to worry about taking time off. Don't have to worry about calling in sick.
Exactly. Exactly.
And all that stuff. And, I can just go do it. So there is some flexibility in there.
That is very true.
Yeah, and controlling your own money thing is definitely true. As we continue pushing through the shift / slowdown, seasonal slowdown,
yep.
All at once. But there's still something to be said that, part of what I do is all successes and failures based on my ideas, right?
Exactly.
Not because I said, hey, I think this is a good idea, and then everybody above me said, no, we're just gonna keep doing it the same way, so nothing ever changes.
True.
So it's all on me, and while that's stressful, it's also fun,
Right.
Right, because you get to be innovative, do different things, see what works, see what doesn't work, things like that.
I think the best part of being an entrepreneur, though, is just seeing your ability to actually create and then fail at something, and then you're like, I actually did this, right?
Yeah.
You actually succeed at something that was your own, and not somebody else dictating to you or even pushing you to do that. You just got up one day and be like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, and you got it done. You get to look back and be like, you know what, I'm proud of myself.
Yeah. And I would imagine, because we just got 2 kids and there's 2 of us, and like right now we're in the fall sports for another few weeks. So it's Tuesdays through Sundays, right?
Yeah.
Of soccer, softball, gymnastics, every day of the week other than Monday. But, there's a trade-off there, so if Cindy has open houses or whatnot, she may not get to make it to the game, but I'll take them, vice versa. So how did you manage all that? 'Cause
I knew this question was coming. Okay.
With all those kids.
All right. So I'm going to tell you a story. Okay. And then you just listen. All right. Okay. So just listen. So I'm actually going to tell you my schedule. Okay. And I'm going to tell you probably not even the worst schedule I've had. I'm going to tell you one of the semi-worst schedule I had. So I had a client that was looking southwest of Virginia, and she has a house. So I listed her house, and I'm actually showing her houses. So I basically dropped my kids off at school, drove to North Carolina, because I have to go to North Carolina to get to Greensville or Lawrenceville, because you have to go into North Carolina and loop back into Virginia. So I actually drove there. It took me an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. Showed like 3 or 4 houses. Got back to Richmond, pick up all my kids, got to football before 6 o'clock. Fed them and got Fed them. Yeah. In between. Yeah. And got in football by 6. And don't get home till 6:30. Well, 8:30. 8:30. And then make something for dinner and go to bed. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not the funnest thing, to be honest, because it's strategic. Yeah. I have to basically sit down the day before, night before, even sometimes the morning, because I'll get calls and be like, hey, can I see this house? And I have to sit down and plan out, it's going to take me an hour to get here. I can only stay here for 30 minutes. Yeah. Exactly 30 minutes. Turn around, take that hour or whatever drive back, and it's strategic. So everything I do is very strategic and time planned, because I've been driving for so long now. I can tell how long it's going to take me. Right. And I drive everywhere. I think I've probably been almost everywhere in Virginia, to be honest. And so I know exactly how much time it's going to take me, and I learn my clients. So I know how much time they need, so that I plan for the time that they need, so I'm not rushing them or make them feel as if don't have the time for them. even because it's important, right? So I strategically plan out my time and my day to make sure I get all that done.
You should get with Courtney so she can learn some how to map out how long it takes her to get places. You know,
I have it mapped out. There was an accident, dead stop traffic, car in park.
Remember that time you were supposed to do that event and you missed it because you got lost.
Gosh.
And then that other one that you got lost at.
I'm being outed right now.
I actually planned that too into my time frame.
And then the third time you got lost.
I've only gotten lost twice.
This week.
Oh, but, no.
So, I'm sorry, Courtney. It's okay. It's all right. It'll get better. Okay, I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It'll get better.
So how do you set your clients' expectations with that? Because that's, because like I know, my busyness is more outside of the sports is just my work busyness, right?
Yeah.
And so it's not just inspections, but it's, it's this stuff and it's the books and all the other stuff, versus, like Cindy, she's more involved with like the PTO and whatnot. Stuff that doesn't make us money. She doesn't listen to this, so it's okay.
All right.
But
Poor
obviously
Cindy.
you have to set expectations to your clients because especially during your kids' busy times, right?
Yeah. I can't say I do that. I say that I put more of the stress on myself than my clients. So for me, my clients, I mean, they know I'm pretty busy. So they don't really, can't say that either. I set the expectation for myself to start out with. So in that way, if I plan out my stuff properly, it shouldn't interfere with my business. So I take on more of the stress mostly. So my clients don't ever know if I did 15 million things today. Right. They don't know because I'm always there and on time.
Right.
So yeah, that's the answer to that question. That makes sense. Yeah. So they don't know that I have a totally different circus because I feel like I'm an acrobat in the circus. They don't know that because I make sure that I just plan out my stuff accordingly to make sure that doesn't affect my clients or my business.
So I think it just goes to show because there's a lot of people, and we've talked about this with other people, just as we shifting market again and all that stuff, that there's a lot of people that just don't find the time to do things. And I think you're just a testament to, single mom, 4 kids, you know, and you're driving 2 hours to go show houses and get back and still do football practice and dinner and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That it can be done, It
can be done.
It's a grind and it's hard.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean, it can't be done. And,
that's true.
And I think a lot of people just don't ever cross that threshold into hard. Is the biggest problem with people. I
agree. I think that everybody thinks it's too hard, so they just don't do it, right? But at the end of the day is I've set expectation for myself, right? And if I expect my kids to follow what I'm teaching them, first of all, I have to do it myself. Right? If I'm not doing what I'm teaching them, are they really going to follow anything I say? Because they're not going to even trust that I can do what I'm teaching them to do, right? And first of all, life is hard. Nothing's going to be handed to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's the first lesson you need to learn, regardless of what everybody tells you. Nothing's going to be handed to you. So if you don't go out there and get what you want, it's never going to come to you. Right? So if you don't set expectation for yourself, nobody else is going to follow. So I set it for myself, and I just make sure that I plan it out accordingly, and I get it done. And I do it every single day.
Yeah. Good times.
And you would never know.
That's right. That's right.
You will never know.
So what's been one of the challenging aspects for real estate?
Right now, the ever-shifting market.
Right.
I think with the ever-shifting market, we're seeing buyers getting more and more scared of actually buying a house, right? Because we started out with this 3% that gave everybody this hope that, hey, everybody can buy a house, which is true. Everybody can buy a house, right? It's just if you have a will to buy the house, you can get there, right? So everybody can buy a house. But with the fact of the shift with the 3% everybody could buy, now it's risen, and then it's kind of shifting back and forth. So everybody's like, well, maybe I can't buy. And everybody's scared to try. Right. So that's the issue right now, is that everybody's just scared to go out here and try and buy a house.
Yeah, it's been interesting on our end. We're still doing okay for inspections. They're still coming in, but there's no rhyme or reason. Like for 2 years, 3 years straight, it was, and it moved a little bit. Sunday evenings through Monday was all the phone calls, and then it was Mondays and Tuesdays was all the phone calls, and then the rest of the week, right. But because there was all these showings on Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, review offers on Mondays or Sunday nights or whatever. So, so now we've kind of hit 1 week where we'll go into the next week with 20 on the books, 80% booked or whatever. And then we'll go into the next week, the following week, with just a couple come Monday morning. But by the end of Tuesday, we're, so, and they're, sometimes they just trickle in all week. So it's there's no rhyme or reason now. It's just, and then of course, and I think some of this also dives into COVID for the last few years, because July, from what I've heard from a lot of people, was July took a dip, and all the school was out. COVID restrictions were relaxed for the first time in 3 years everywhere. So, and on top of just the rates, that's when the rates started to go up, so, and then August shot back up, September was crazy busy. And now, no COVID restrictions. Fall's here, so everybody's going apple picking and all their fall festivals, and all the stuff that people just haven't been able to do the last 3 years. Exactly. So it's really hard to pinpoint, in my opinion, exactly where we are as a market. Because there's just too many factors to say.
I agree with that.
Is there a slowdown because of the rates? Sure. But inventory is still low. So, so maybe people are just taking some time now to go pick some apples and ride some hay rides, and, I
think it's a combination.
Yeah. I think it's just a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Right?
I think a little bit of everything.
People are just finally getting to enjoy their favorite time of year. Not my favorite time of year. My favorite time of year was, about a month ago when it was still warm.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but they're getting to enjoy a time of year that they haven't been able to enjoy the last 3 years because of restrictions, So I think there's quite a few factors in all of this as to why we're seeing, because again, it goes back to that roller coaster of phone calls of when we get them, So if we don't get an influx of phone calls on Monday, Tuesday that trickles in all week, that's because stuff was going on this past weekend, so nobody was going around showing houses. So
that is very true. I have a lot of time on my hands.
Yeah.
Lots of time.
That's right.
Yeah. Compared to summer.
Yeah. Yeah. So and again, every article that you read and whatnot, it's just doom and gloom, and rates have doubled this year. That's the headline. Well, they've doubled. Well, true. Yeah. But 3 to 6, 3.5 to 7. That's double. It's not 6 to 12 or 10 to 20. Right. That's not that kind of doubling. So we just need to get some space to get that out of the news cycle, and we start working on a normal. Now. We've kind of normalized
more of a normal market.
Yeah.
I agree with
stabilize the rates. Everybody kind of gets used to it. Prices adjust accordingly and whatnot. So stop seeing all these $40,000 price drops,
Yeah. You've seen this. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Because that just fuels the speculation. It fuels the fears, So,
it does.
Prices are dropping. Crash is coming.
Yeah.
But no, it's just...
No. Just stabilizing.
Yeah,
it's stabilizing.
Sometimes you just miss the mark. Sometimes it's agents that don't price very well through inexperience or whatever, and then sometimes it's just sellers because sellers want
that is true.
2021 prices.
Yeah,
spring 2022 prices.
Yes,
and you can't tell them anything. Right?
No.
So a couple different factors there, but it just doesn't help.
No.
None of it helps.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, because I know we did have like a lot of new agents over the pandemic, because, I mean, it's good and bad because some people are in house and some people weren't coming out, but there's some that were, and prices, with the little bit that were coming out, for the fact that the interest rate had fallen, it really hiked prices up, right? Because the demand was there for it, right? But there were a lot of new agents that came in and just thought they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, that's right.
And not saying that they don't, but if you haven't been in the market prior to the pandemic, you're not able to better anticipate what's coming, right? And so you're not able to kind of map out the scenario. So it makes it harder for you to, one, price, and then two, be able to help your buyers. So I found a lot of buyers that actually bought with a new agent had so many more issues and so many more complaints about so not only their service, but the value and the due diligence that was done.
I've heard some stories lately, since, inspections are back. Not that they went away for some, but they're back for everybody. And now you've had agents that's never negotiated, and they're having to negotiate for the first time. But they're, see their Facebook persona, they're experienced agents, because they survived the pandemic. Yeah. And talking to agents that's been doing this for a while, that's on the other end of these negotiations, and they're just like, I can't anymore.
I mean, honestly, thank God I've been in enough of those negotiations to say something, but the fun, to me, you don't really start working until you have a transaction. Right. Driving around, yes. I mean, it is work. It is. But your skills and your know-how and all that really doesn't start until you're under contract, right? And one of the biggest things is your inspection, right? If you can't negotiate an inspection, you're dead in the water.
Right. So, which will lead me to my next point. We've done this a few times. Yeah. And had some interesting ones.
I bet.
And whatnot. And I know you've had some tough ones and some that go sideways. So how do you handle that when you get to that point of we've done an inspection and it's just unreasonable all the way around? The clients being unreasonable, they're being difficult to work with, stuff like that. So how do you navigate those waters?
First of all, when it comes to inspections, I like to set expectations. You know that. Yeah. Because it just makes your life and your job so much easier. Because I think, honestly, it just starts with expectations, right? Prior to, especially during, at least I can talk for myself, during my home buying seminars, I go over inspections, right? At least what to expect, what not to expect kind of situation. Right. And so they already have that expectation. Right. Then second of all, if I know it's a client that has, how do I say this? Well, clients that expect more than what they should have or should, I normally have a conversation with you. So you already know, hey, this is what this person is. So just setting expectations all the way around. And then second of all, during the inspection, we still have the same conversation. Like, this is what defect is. This is what is cosmetic. So we're fully aware of what those are. So when we go into negotiations, well, and also with the fact that you also explain it again after the inspection, it's also very, very important, which also helps to set those expectations. But once, a client gets a little combative or resistance, you have to basically go back to reminding them, like, hey, this is a defect, this is a cosmetic, like defects or things that are actually unsafe, right? Cosmetic is just because you don't look pretty.
That's right.
You can change that on your own, right? And first of all, at least when I walk through a house, I point out cosmetic stuff and I point out defects, and you know that we talk about this. And there's times I will call you and send you pictures. I am no joke. So, as a realtor, I think we also have to do our jobs and due diligence up front too, right? So that when it comes to that area where we're having issues with our sellers or our buyers, we have to go back to the fact that we've set this expectation the entire time, right? So pointing out defects and cosmetic stuff during your walkthrough kind of helps your situation.
Yeah.
So by the time it gets to the inspection, I don't really have a lot of problem with my buyers.
Right.
Right. It's mostly sellers. When you're sitting there trying to get these defects done, can be really, really painful. Right.
Yes, it can.
It's painful. It's not even a joke. It's painful. But
and that's not always or typically on like the seller's agent, right? Because the seller's agent's just going by what they're told by the seller, right?
Exactly.
They can't force the seller to do it.
Can't force anybody.
They're just saying, hey, look, this is what we agreed upon. Let me know when it's done, right? I mean,
Exactly.
if you need somebody, I got recommendations. If you want to call your person, call your person. And then they get the phone call, hey, we're done. We're ready to move on. And then something that we try to encourage very silently because, you know, I don't want the schedule filled up with them, but they are very important.
Yeah.
And that's reinspections. And, you know, Todd did one, I think, yesterday, and like nothing was done, you know, but the agent was told everything's done. And
that's true.
And here you are.
That is true. But when you do have like a difficult, you know, inspection negotiation, I always recommend a reinspection.
Right.
Because chances are nothing's going to be done.
Yeah.
Right.
I always tell people, you know, 50-50 at best. That's average. You know, for me is about 50% of it's done, 50% of it's not done.
Well, yeah.
You know, I think I've had maybe one where everything was done. Like one inspection, one reinspection where everything was done.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
Yeah. And like I said, 50-50 is average.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that some agents get on the low end of that average all the time, but that's why it's called an average. So
yeah, that's true.
So yeah, it's always challenging for that. And then sometimes depending on the seller and whatnot, and part of the issue that makes re-inspections challenging is sometimes you get into a pissing contest with, you know, well, the seller says it's right. Okay, well, nobody else in the entire world says it's right. You know,
that is true.
So, and of course, you know, I don't hear that. I only hear that through the agent typically.
Agents, yeah.
Because nobody calls us hardly ever.
That's true.
You know, to
even though I encourage it.
Yeah.
No, they prefer to fight with me.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And, you know, and I talked about this in the classes that we do that, you know, I had one where the agent and the seller and the contractor was the same person, you know, flip house and whatnot. So
agent, seller, and contractor. That's a disaster.
Yeah. Yeah. Did all the work himself, his house.
Yeah. Concoction for disaster.
And it was a train wreck. It was an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
And he called the agent screaming.
Yep.
And she's like, I really thought he was going to call. He's like, he ain't going to call me. If he's screaming at you, he's not going to call me because he can't prove to you that I'm wrong.
Right.
You know, so he's just trying to intimidate you into thinking that I'm wrong without actually being able to prove to you that I'm wrong because he knows I'm right. And not saying that we're always right. I've been wrong. It's okay to be wrong. But typically when people take to screaming, it's because they can't support their stance. Yeah. They can't support what they're defending.
That's true.
They're just mad at that point.
They go to intimidation.
Yeah. So
that's true.
So those are the fun ones, you know, and but that's why I do what I do, and you do what you do, and I'll leave all that to you.
And there's times I'm like, you can no longer talk to me. I need you to email me.
Yeah, yeah, because you've had a few where you know, it became untenable.
Yes, I did. Yes. And I had to be like, I need you to stop communicating with me over the phone. I'm gonna need you to start emailing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when you start having paper trails like, please email me. Yep.
Yeah, we had that.
Do not dial my phone number.
One, and, you know, because the agent ended up calling me. And,
he did.
Yeah. I've never seen a report like this. Like, well, I don't know what to tell you. You know, back in my day, you know, we only had one-page reports. And
back in my day, we didn't even do inspections. I don't understand why we doing inspections.
Yeah.
I don't understand either. But I mean, we're getting them done.
Yeah. And this isn't like this is new from like last year. You know,
right?
This has been going on for a while now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I think this particular realtor took a long hiatus.
Oh yeah.
I think like before.
Oh yeah.
Like so you haven't never seen an inspection.
Well, we got an inspection last year. I don't understand why all this stuff's on there. I don't understand either.
This wasn't on there last year. That's because you didn't do one last year. That's what I think.
Is it right?
I think there was no one done last year.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's always interesting dealing with, but
different people. And it takes a special person to do real estate, I think.
It does. Because you got to be able to manage all that.
Yeah.
And because there's so many personalities in real estate.
Oh, my God.
The extremes.
I have never so happy for psychology class than I am when I started real estate. I was like, oh, this is why I took psychology.
Yeah.
I can see why this is working for me.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep. You got people on one side that think that they're, HGTV agents.
Yeah.
And then you got people on the other side who's like, man, I wouldn't trust you to sell my lawnmower.
Yeah. and you have to be Satan and all that.
And yeah. And it's everything in between. And man, it's such a wide, and when you've had a market like we've had over the last 3 years where stick a sign in the ground and it's gone in a day.
Yeah.
That's basically what
right? You do. You do.
So, and the same is true for home inspectors. This isn't just for agents. This is the same thing, in the industry wide. Anything that's attached to the real estate industry is the same thing. Whether it's lenders, whether it's inspectors, whether it's the, agents, whatever it is, title companies. It's the same type, same spectrum of people that you're dealing with, just different. What they carry is different.
Different industry, but same kind of personalities.
Yeah. Because you got home inspectors that are got that God complex. I know more than everybody else, so therefore, when I say the grass isn't the right shade of green, it's going in the report.
Yeah.
I think that was the one I did. It was a reinspection for you, where the original inspection he wrote up they needed a shed. Yeah. A shed in the backyard. They wrote that up.
Yeah.
Didn't have one. What? Recommend a shed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
From that all the way down to not knowing what. That's right. Yeah, and from those guys all the way down to the ones that don't know how to work a tape measure.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's what pandemic does to us.
It's
Everybody comes out the woodwork.
That's right. Like that's right. So, and I think as we move forward, things stabilize. We get back to a normal market. It'll be tough for a couple months, 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
As those people start to weed themselves out, then their buyers and clients will start filling into the people who are. Yeah,
I agree.
Here.
I had this conversation at the beginning of the year with a colleague of mine, and I was like, hey, there's a lot of us out here, and I don't think all of us are going to be there at the end of the pandemic, right? And we agreed, and then we sat around and kind of listened to everybody else talk, and we started hearing the same thing. I was like, oh, all of us on the same page. Yeah, we know some of us not going to be here because of the fact that some of us don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We just came in, and it was already done for us.
Right.
So it's like a done for us situation. Yeah. So everybody just kind of was like, well, it's already done for me, so I get through. And then you get through, but then when the tough is tough and you don't have the experience and the knowledge, then you kind of realize that, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing.
And you're always going to have those people that stumble through, as I call them, accidentally successful, right? Those are the favorite ones.
Yeah, got a lot of those.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, those are going to stick around. Fortunately, unfortunately, I don't want to ever see anybody lose their job or whatnot. But it is a natural cycle of weeding out. And that's not just this industry; that's every industry.
I agree.
You go through cycles where everything is bloated, everybody's in there, everybody rushes to it, and then it leans out, and then the industry itself gets lean. Yeah. So, then you get those people around like we have now, like, hey, what was it like back in 2008?
Right?
What did
I
you
there,
do?
So I have to ask questions.
That's right. That's right. How'd you make it through that?
Right.
So then you become that person. So,
yeah.
So when you first started into real estate, going from the medical world, real estate is built on your sphere of influence. So how did you navigate that? How were you able to build?
Good question.
I have good ones every now and then.
I know, right? So, being from Jamaica, I don't know a lot of people. And Jamaicans have a trust issue, just so the whole world knows.
I figured that out last week.
Oh, you did. Good job.
You kind of picked that up. Kind of pick up on that.
Yeah, Jamaicans are very, very inclusive. They're very picky with who they call friends and colleagues and all of that. So to be a friend is a pretty big deal because we don't have a lot. Right. Right. So I had the challenge. Well, I can't say it's a challenge because I think I have a pretty good personality and I like to talk a lot. So I ended up this is how I built my sphere of influence. It's just by being myself, really. Just talking to people and being honest and genuine and just being transparent. Right. Just networking is really how I did that, and just really just finding a place that I felt I was being valued and then where I can build value. So I've started out with a couple of different companies that I won't name, but
we can bleep them out. It's okay.
Yeah. So I did not feel like I could build value there.
Right.
And with my personality and then strong cultural views and experiences kind of made it a little bit hard to do that. Right. So I kind of shop around till I figure out where I could do that. And I think where I'm at right now, I can do that along with my personality. So that's really how I started out, really bringing people into my circle.
Nice. That was a good answer. Good. Well, awesome. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you got phone calls to make.
It's all good.
And Courtney's got stuff to do, I'm sure.
Yeah, Courtney, I'm sure you want to kick me out now. It's okay.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, she's 20 minutes behind.
Today just bully Courtney day?
Well, bully's a strong word. That's a strong word. This is like anti-bullying month, so we don't do that in this company here.
Okay.
So, yes, we have a strong HR department that advises.
I'm looking at it. It's the trash can, by the way.
So, I appreciate you coming in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think it was a good conversation.
Very good.
If people want to reach out to you, how do they do that?
I am on Facebook, Instagram, and various other, like TikTok and Snapchat. I think I probably have every single one. And it's just my name, Latoya Perkins, nothing special.
TikTok.
Well, yeah, I'm special.
That's right.
But just Latoya Perkins.
Yeah, we ventured in the TikTok world.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but we're there. So
I get my kids to watch every video. My kids are like, do you approve?
Yeah. Yeah, we post videos, but like I don't understand like really the purpose of TikTok. It makes me feel bad for our future.
Yes, it
as
does.
a society.
And then we, as the older people, are on TikTok. Just makes it seem a little more even weirder.
Yeah. When all your videos are
dogs and cats.
Dogs and cats, or what are those videos called where they snap their fingers and they're in costumes.
Oh, the transition ones?
Transition ones, yes. Like grown people just spending all day making transition videos.
The entire day. That video took the entire day.
I'll say this out of jealousy because they're probably making money that I'm not.
They make a lot of money.
Yeah. I just don't have the
So it's just out of jealousy. That's all this is. It's just jealousy, that I'm going to spend my week in the crawl space and they're making
what
videos.
You should do is take a video of you before you get in the crawl space. And then, when you get out, that's a transition right there.
That's a transition.
That's a transition.
That's right.
That's a transition right there. Don't even have to work that hard. It didn't take you all day. You actually did that all day, so you might as well.
That's right. Well, awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming in, and we'll have to do this again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thanks.